Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are uncovering a massive crisis that is literally hiding in plain sight. In fact, you're probably sitting inside it right now, and you definitely walk past it every single day. We're talking about the buildings that make up our cities. While we focus so much on the cars we drive or the plastic straws we use, the traditional construction sector is quietly devouring our planet's resources. But don't worry, because we're also going to explore a fascinating restorative solution that's already transforming how we live.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll be covering 1. The hidden urban crisis, 2. Linear via circular buildings, 3. Cities as change catalysts, and finally, 4. Driving the transition.
Section 1. The hidden urban crisis, unveiling the footprint. Okay, let's dive into this. Just imagine the dramatic contrast in how we build our world. On one side, we have our current linear reality. We're talking smog-filled skies, endless waste, and concrete jungles that just trap heat and pollution. But then, look at the alternative, a circular future. Picture green, integrated, modular urban landscapes. Landscapes that actually regenerate the environment instead of just stripping it bare. The stakes here absolutely could not be higher.
Now, what's really interesting is how immense and multi-layered the construction sector's footprint actually is. Buildings aren't just passive structures, you know? They are active drains on our global ecosystem, responsible for massive percentages of resource consumption, energy use, emissions, and waste generation. Let's break those numbers down.
To put this into perspective, the building sector alone devours anywhere from 35 to 45% of the planet's raw materials. That is a staggering amount of sand, gravel, limestone, and crushed rock. It makes up more than half of all materials consumed globally today. And according to the OECD, raw material use is expected to double by 2060. We are quite literally digging up the earth just to pour it into our city skylines.
But it doesn't stop at just extracting those materials. The energy drain is just as intense. Extracting resources, processing them, and then operating these buildings is responsible for 25 to 40% of the world's total energy usage. All that burned fuel generates over a third of Europe's greenhouse gas emissions alone. If we keep this up, emissions from materials management will skyrocket to 50 gigatons by 2060. Think about that.
And here is where it gets truly tragic. Buildings are engineered to easily last 50 to 70 years, right? But they're so often demolished in just 20. Why? It's something called functional obsolescence. Basically, our needs change. Maybe a company just really wants an open concept office instead of cubicles. So instead of adapting the building, we just tear the whole thing down. Perfectly durable concrete and steel destroyed, generating over a third of all waste in the EU. It's mind-blowing.
Section 2. Linear versus circular buildings. A paradigm shift.
So, we've identified the heavy, data-anchored villain of our story. Now let's shift to the hopeful, restorative cure we so desperately need, the circular building model. The crucial point here is that the circular economy for buildings is a regenerative model. It's not just about doing less harm, it's about actively doing good. It means keeping materials and components in continuous use at their absolute highest intrinsic value to slash emissions. Instead of destruction, we're creating closed loops of reuse, repair, and recycling. We're designing out the very concept of obsolescence.
It really helps to contrast these two mentalities so we grasp the vital vocabulary of sustainability. The old linear economy was super simple and totally destructive. Take, make, throw away. The new circular economy demands a complete 180 in action. Recover, reuse, recondition. It means viewing our existing cities as urban mines, where we harvest materials from buildings we already have rather than extracting them fresh from nature.
And here is a major reason why this matters so much: preserving embodied carbon. Circularity isn't just about lowering your monthly power bill. Look, between 20% and 50% of a building's total carbon footprint is embodied carbon. Those are the greenhouse gases released during the initial extraction, manufacturing, and transport of the materials. When we demolish a structure prematurely, all of that locked-in carbon value is permanently, irretrievably lost, just gone.
Section 3. Cities as change catalysts. The macro solution. Now that we understand the life cycle of a single building, let's zoom out to the macro level. How do we actually make this happen on a huge scale? Entire cities must become the catalyst for this incredible change. And this brilliantly illustrates how linear cities are plagued by underutilized spaces, inefficient mobility, and massive waste.
Circular cities, on the other hand, are resilient, active ecosystems. They aren't just environmental utopias. They use renewable energy targets, modular design, and innovative business models to create genuine financial and societal value.
So how does a city actually achieve this? Well, city administrators use a specific four-part playbook to transform their urban environments. Let's walk through the exact 4 steps that turn a linear city into a circular powerhouse. 1. Set vision and strategy. 2. Build prototypes. 3. Foster collaboration. And 4. Incentivize transition.
Let's break those down. Step 1 is setting the vision and strategy. Cities have the autonomy to draft flexible regulations and set clear targets for energy and material use. More importantly, they can create circular hubs. These are dedicated, safe testing grounds where businesses, individuals, and entrepreneurs can actually test out viable circular ideas without getting crushed by traditional red tape.
Step 2 is building prototypes. A city absolutely has to lead by example. They do this by embedding circular strategies right into public infrastructure. A prime example is using circular procurement in city projects, or establishing physical material exchange facilities where the waste from one project literally becomes the raw material for another. It proves to all the stakeholders that the model actually works.
Next up, Step 3, fostering collaboration. Look, complex circular projects are impossible in a silo. They require massive teamwork. The city administration acts as the great connector, bringing together businesses, citizens, and researchers across the value chain. They can mobilize this by physically setting up repair shops and sharing centers to let symbiotic collaborations truly flourish.
And finally, Step 4, which is absolutely vital, incentivize the transition. Let's be real, circular projects often have high upfront costs, things like R&D and setting up reverse logistics networks to actually take materials back. So the city is central to providing economic backing. They can offer infrastructural support or even monetize the sharing and repair of abandoned buildings, giving developers a real, tangible financial reason to extend a building's lifespan.
Section 4. Driving the transition. Accelerating the change.
Let's move to our final topic and see how this all builds together. 58%. That is our current overall implementation rate for circular building strategies. Well, to start, it means we have a really long way to go to hit that 100% ideal. Right now, the global construction sector is simply not on track to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals.
To get from 58% to 100%, we have to clear a few major roadblocks. Right now, entrenched linear regulations actually obstruct the transition. Strict building codes often make it incredibly difficult to use secondary, reclaimed materials. There's also a lack of technical knowledge among architects about how to design for disassembly. Plus, without a robust secondary material market and clear financial paybacks, a lot of investors still shy away.
But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. Let's look at the incredible drivers accelerating this change. Technological tools like building information modeling, or BIM, and life cycle assessments are huge game changers, allowing us to digitally track materials using material passports. We are also seeing green public procurement policies creating immediate demand for secondary materials and financial incentives. Things like reduced VAT for repaired goods and green taxes on virgin materials are finally making circularity economically competitive. It's happening.
I'll leave you with this final, provocative thought. The next time you look out your window or walk down your street, take a really close look at the construction around you. Ask yourself, is your city building for a smog-filled linear past where perfectly good materials are doomed to the landfill? Or are you watching the foundations of a resilient, regenerative, circular future being laid? The tools, the strategies, and the incentives are all there. It's time we design out obsolescence for good. Thank you for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning how your world is built.